Welcome, wanderers of the eerie and seekers of the supernatural, to Whispers in the Dark, your go-to channel for spine-chilling tales and haunted histories. Here, we delve deep into the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of reason, those places where the veil between the living and the dead feels perilously thin. Today, we embark on a journey unlike any other, venturing into the untamed wilderness of the American West, where towering pines stretch toward the heavens and ancient secrets slumber beneath mossy earth. These forests are not merely landscapes of breathtaking beauty, they are realms steeped in legend, tragedy, and the uncanny. Beneath their canopies, shadows grow longer than they should, whispers drift through the trees without source, and the air carries an unshakable sense of being watched. The forests of the American West hold a unique allure for those who dare to explore them. Their vastness inspires awe but also unease, as if nature itself conspires to remind us how small and fragile we truly are. From the mist-shrouded redwoods of California to the rugged pine forests of Montana, these woodlands have borne witness to centuries of human triumph and tragedy. They've cradled pioneers seeking new horizons, indigenous peoples honoring sacred lands, and outlaws fleeing justice. Yet, alongside these stories of courage and survival linger darker narratives of disappearances, curses, and spirits unwilling to relinquish their hold on the mortal realm. In this two-part series, we will peel back the layers of myth and history to uncover the most haunted forests in the American West. We'll tread lightly among whispering pines and shadow-draped trails, piecing together the chilling accounts of those who dared to venture too far, and perhaps never returned. Along the way, you'll encounter tales of ghostly apparitions, malevolent entities, and inexplicable phenomena that defy logic and reason. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, prepare to be captivated by the haunting allure of these natural cathedrals, where every rustle of leaves might carry a message from beyond. So gather your courage, light your lanterns, and join us as we step off the beaten path and into the heart of the unknown. The forest awaits, but beware, it may not let you leave unchanged. Let the whispers begin. The enchanted forest of Oregon, a realm where reality fades. Nestled within the lush expanse of Oregon's coastal range lies a forest so steeped in mystery and folklore that even seasoned explorers hesitate before entering its shadowy embrace. Known locally as the Enchanted Forest, this sprawling woodland has earned its reputation not only for its ethereal beauty but also for the unsettling occurrences reported by those brave, or foolhardy, enough to wander its depths. To call it simply a forest would be an understatement. It is a place where reality seems to bend, where time slows and the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural blur into something altogether otherworldly. At first glance, the Enchanted Forest appears deceptively serene. Towering Douglas firs and Sitka spruces form a dense canopy overhead, filtering sunlight into dappled patterns that dance across the forest floor. Ferns carpet the ground in vibrant green, while streams meander lazily through the underbrush, their waters clear and cold. It is easy to see why early settlers and indigenous tribes alike considered this land sacred, a cathedral of nature untouched by the ravages of modernity. Yet beneath its tranquil surface lies an undercurrent of unease, a sense that the forest is alive in ways beyond comprehension. Local legends speak of strange happenings within the Enchanted Forest, tales passed down through generations like whispered warnings. One of the most enduring stories revolves around a group of hikers who ventured into the woods in the late 1970s, never to return. According to eyewitnesses, the group set out on what was supposed to be a routine day hike, equipped with maps, compasses, and supplies. But when night fell and they failed to emerge, search parties were dispatched. Despite combing the area for weeks, no trace of the missing hikers was ever found, no discarded gear, no footprints, nothing to indicate they had been there at all. Some claimed the forest swallowed them whole, folding them into its labyrinthine depths as punishment for daring to enter uninvited. Others believe they stumbled upon something they weren't meant to see, vanishing into thin air as retribution. More recent accounts paint an equally chilling picture. Visitors report hearing disembodied voices echoing through the trees, speaking in languages unfamiliar yet oddly melodic. Some described feeling an invisible presence following them, a weight pressing against their backs or brushing lightly against their skin. Others recount seeing shadowy figures darting between the trunks, their forms flickering in and out of existence. One particularly unsettling incident involved a photographer who captured an image of a translucent figure standing amidst the foliage, a figure that bore no resemblance to anyone in his group. When he attempted to locate the spot where the photo was taken, he discovered the area completely devoid of landmarks, as though the forest had rearranged itself overnight. Perhaps the most pervasive legend ties the enchanted forest to the concept of time distortion. Countless visitors have described emerging from the woods only to find hours, or even days, had passed without explanation. Watches stop working, smartphones lose signal, and compasses spin erratically, leaving explorers disoriented and vulnerable. Some theorize the forest exists in a liminal space, a threshold between worlds where the rules of physics no longer apply. Others suggest it serves as a gateway to another dimension, one inhabited by beings indifferent, or hostile, to human intrusion. Either way, the implications are enough to send shivers down the spine of even the most hardened skeptic. For paranormal investigators, the enchanted forest presents both a challenge and an irresistible lure. Armed with EMF detectors, thermal cameras, and audio recording equipment, teams have ventured into its depths in search of answers. Their findings are as varied as they are perplexing: EVP recordings capturing faint whispers discussing unseen dangers, thermal imaging footage revealing heat signatures moving independently of physical bodies, and sudden spikes in electromagnetic activity correlating with reports of heightened unease. Yet, despite their efforts, definitive proof remains elusive, leaving room for interpretation and imagination to flourish. What sets the enchanted forest apart from other haunted locales is its ability to evoke primal fears. The sheer scale of the woodland makes it easy to become lost, both physically and mentally. Its isolation amplifies every sound: the snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, until each becomes a potential harbinger of doom. Even the most rational mind struggles to maintain composure when confronted with such overwhelming sensory input. For those who dare to visit, the experience is akin to stepping into a dream, or nightmare, one where familiar landmarks vanish, paths twist back on themselves, and the very fabric of reality frays at the edges. Yet, for all its terror, the enchanted forest retains an undeniable magnetism. There is something undeniably captivating about a place that defies understanding, that refuses to yield its secrets no matter how deeply one probes. It is a reminder of humanity's insignificance in the grand scheme of things, a humbling acknowledgement that some mysteries are best left unsolved. As you stand beneath its towering trees, listening to the wind sigh through the branches, you cannot help but feel a mixture of awe and dread, an awareness that you are trespassing in a realm not entirely your own. Whether viewed as a sanctuary or a snare, the enchanted forest continues to beckon adventurers and skeptics alike, promising discovery and danger in equal measure. To enter is to surrender control, to embrace uncertainty, and to confront the possibility that the world is far stranger, and far more sinister, than we could ever imagine. So, if you find yourself drawn to its verdant embrace, tread carefully. The forest may grant you safe passage, or it may claim you as its own. The ghostly trails of Big Basin Redwoods State Park. Deep within the heart of California's Santa Cruz Mountains lies Big Basin Redwoods State Park, home to some of the oldest and tallest trees on Earth. This ancient forest, with its majestic redwoods stretching skyward, has long been a sanctuary for nature lovers and hikers. However, beneath the serene canopy of these towering giants lurks a spectral presence that has intrigued and terrified visitors for decades. The park is notorious for its ghostly trails, where countless individuals have reported encounters with apparitions, inexplicable sounds, and eerie sensations that defy logical explanation. One of the most famous haunted trails in Big Basin is the Skyline to the Sea Trail, a popular route that winds through the park's dense woodland. Hikers frequently recount experiencing an overwhelming sense of being followed, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every move. Many describe hearing footsteps behind them, synchronized perfectly with their own, only to turn and find no one there. The sensation is often accompanied by a chilling breeze that seems to emanate from nowhere, sending shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned outdoors enthusiasts. The tale of the Lady in White is perhaps the most well-known ghost story associated with the park. Legend has it that a young woman, heartbroken over a lost love, wandered into the forest one moonlit night, never to return. Since then, numerous visitors have claimed to see her apparition gliding silently along the trails, her ethereal form illuminated by the pale glow of the moon. Witnesses describe her as wearing a flowing white dress, her face obscured by a veil of sorrow. Those who have encountered her say she disappears as suddenly as she appears, leaving behind an aura of melancholy that lingers long after she is gone. Another spectral figure said to haunt the trails is the Wailing Woodsman, a tormented spirit believed to be the ghost of a logger who met a tragic end in the forest. His mournful cries echo through the trees, especially during the quiet hours of twilight. Hikers have reported hearing the sound of an axe striking wood, followed by anguished screams that seem to come from all directions. Some claim to have seen his shadowy silhouette among the trees, perpetually swinging his phantom axe in a futile attempt to complete his final task. The park's haunted reputation extends beyond mere sightings and sounds. Campers have recounted bizarre occurrences that suggest an unseen force manipulating their surroundings. Tents have been found collapsed without explanation, gear scattered across campsites, and fires extinguished despite calm weather conditions. In one particularly unsettling incident, a group of campers awoke to find their food supplies inexplicably moved several yards away from their original location, arranged in a perfect circle as if placed there deliberately. Paranormal investigators have long been fascinated by the supernatural phenomena reported in Big Basin Redwood State Park. Armed with advanced equipment such as infrared cameras and digital recorders, they have captured compelling evidence of unexplained activity. While thermal imaging footage captures fleeting heat signatures moving independently of physical bodies, investigators have also documented sudden drops in temperature along certain sections of the trails, creating icy pockets that contrast sharply with the otherwise mild climate of the region. What makes Big Basin's ghostly trails uniquely terrifying is the combination of isolation and familiarity. The park's vast network of trails offers endless opportunities for exploration, yet the dense foliage and towering trees create an environment where visibility is limited and escape routes are few. This sense of entrapment amplifies the fear induced by paranormal encounters, making each step feel heavier and more deliberate. For those who dare to venture into the park, the experience is akin to walking through a waking nightmare, one where the boundary between reality and illusion blurs dangerously. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Big Basin Redwood State Park continues to attract visitors eager to test their courage against the unknown. For many, the allure lies not only in the thrill of encountering the supernatural, but also in the profound connection to nature that the forest provides. The redwoods themselves seem imbued with a wisdom older than time, their massive trunks bearing witness to countless generations of life and death. To walk among them is to feel both insignificant and eternal, a paradox that adds depth to the park's haunted mystique. As you traverse the ghostly trails of Big Basin, remember that the forest holds secrets older than memory. Each rustle of leaves, each creak of wood, could be a message from the past, or a warning from the present. Whether you come seeking adventure or solace, respect the land and its spirits, for they are guardians of a legacy far greater than any single lifetime. And should you hear the wail of the woodsman, or catch a glimpse of the lady in white, know that you are not alone. The forest watches, and it remembers. The phantom pines of Mount Rainier National Park, tucked within the rugged wilderness of Washington State, Mount Rainier National Park stands as a crown jewel of the Pacific Northwest. Its snow-capped peak looms majestically over alpine meadows, glaciers, and dense forests, drawing millions of visitors each year. Yet, amid its awe-inspiring beauty, one particular section of the park has earned a reputation far removed from serenity: the Phantom Pines. This enigmatic grove of ancient evergreens is said to harbor a spectral energy so potent that it leaves even the most skeptical hiker questioning their sanity. The Phantom Pines earn their ominous moniker due to the eerie luminescence that bathes the area on moonless nights. Locals and rangers alike have reported seeing faint, phosphorescent glows emanating from the trees themselves, casting an otherworldly pallor over the forest floor. At first glance, these lights appear similar to bioluminescence, but closer inspection reveals something far stranger. Unlike natural phenomena, the glow does not emanate uniformly. It pulses, flickers, and shifts, as though alive. Some describe it as resembling fireflies trapped within the bark, while others liken it to the soft, ghostly radiance of candlelight. Whatever the source, the effect is both mesmerizing and unnerving, transforming the grove into a scene straight out of a Gothic fairy tale. But the glowing trees are only the beginning. Visitors to the Phantom Pines often recount experiences that defy explanation. Many speak of hearing disembodied whispers carried on the wind, their tones muffled yet insistent, as if trying to communicate a dire warning. Others report the sensation of being followed, describing an oppressive weight that grows heavier the deeper they venture into the grove. Footsteps echo behind them, though no one else is visible, and the rustling of branches seems synchronized with their movements, as though the forest itself is mimicking their presence. One hiker claimed to feel an icy hand brush against their shoulder, only to turn and find nothing but empty air. Such encounters leave visitors shaken, their nerves frayed by the relentless sense of being watched. The origins of the Phantom Pines' haunting reputation are steeped in local legend. According to Native American folklore, the grove was once a sacred site used for rituals and ceremonies. Elders spoke of a powerful spirit known as the Watcher, said to dwell among the trees and safeguard the balance between the living and the dead. Over time, however, outsiders began encroaching upon the land, disregarding its sanctity and exploiting its resources. It is believed that the Watcher grew enraged by this desecration, cursing the grove to serve as a prison for those who dared disturb its peace. Legends tell of loggers who disappeared without a trace after cutting down trees within the grove, their tools found abandoned and their campsites eerily silent. Modern accounts add further layers of intrigue to the legend. In the 1980s, a group of college students camping near the Phantom Pines reported witnessing a procession of shadowy figures moving through the trees. Described as humanoid but impossibly tall, the figures appeared to glide rather than walk, their forms dissolving into mist whenever approached. The students fled in terror, abandoning their gear in the process. Rangers later recovered their belongings but found no sign of the students themselves, sparking a months-long search that ultimately yielded no answers. Similar reports have surfaced sporadically since, with witnesses describing identical apparitions that seem to materialize and vanish without warning. For paranormal investigators, the Phantom Pines represents both a challenge and an obsession. Teams equipped with thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices have conducted numerous expeditions into the grove, capturing evidence that suggests the presence of unexplained phenomena. Thermal imaging footage reveals heat signatures that move independently of physical bodies, while EVP recordings capture faint voices speaking in languages unfamiliar to researchers. Perhaps most compelling is the recurring pattern of electromagnetic interference experienced by electronic devices within the grove. Cameras malfunction, GPS systems lose signal, and cell phones fail to connect, leaving explorers isolated and vulnerable. What sets the Phantom Pines apart from other haunted locations is its ability to evoke primal fears. The combination of isolation, darkness, and the grove's unnatural luminosity creates an atmosphere of claustrophobic dread. Shadows seem to stretch unnaturally, sounds distort unpredictably, and the very air feels charged with an electric tension. Even the most rational minds struggle to maintain composure when surrounded by such overwhelming stimuli. For those who dare to visit, the experience is akin to stepping into a dreamscape, one where familiar landmarks vanish, paths twist back on themselves, and the line between reality and illusion blurs dangerously. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Phantom Pines continues to draw adventurers and skeptics alike. Some come seeking thrills, eager to test their courage against the unknown. Others arrive out of curiosity, hoping to unravel the mystery behind the grove's spectral energy. Regardless of intent, all who enter do so with a mix of reverence and trepidation, aware that they are treading on hallowed ground. As you stand beneath the glowing boughs of the Phantom Pines, take a moment to listen to the forest. Hear the whispers of those who came before, feel the weight of their gaze upon you, and consider the price of disturbing forces best left undisturbed. Should you choose to venture deeper, remember, the forest watches, and it remembers. And once you step into its embrace, there is no guarantee you will emerge unchanged. The cursed timberland of Crater Lake National Park, nestled within the caldera of an ancient volcano, Crater Lake National Park in Oregon is renowned for its crystalline waters and dramatic landscapes. Yet beyond its postcard-perfect vistas lies a darker narrative, one tied to the dense timberlands that encircle the lake. These woods, collectively referred to as the cursed timberland, have long been shrouded in superstition and fear, their towering pines and jagged terrain serving as a backdrop for tragedies spanning centuries. To locals, the forest is more than a natural wonder. It is a place where misfortune lingers like a shadow, where lives are irrevocably altered, and where the echoes of past horrors refuse to fade. The origins of the curse are deeply rooted in the cultural history of the Klamath tribes, whose ancestral lands encompass much of the park's territory. According to tribal lore, the lake itself was formed by a cataclysmic event involving a battle between the spirit of the mountain, Leo, and the spirit of the sky, Skel. In retaliation for his defeat, Leo cursed the surrounding forests, vowing that any who disturbed the land would suffer untold calamities. While oral traditions vary, the underlying theme remains consistent. The timberland is a sacred space imbued with spiritual significance, and disrespecting it invites wrath from forces beyond human comprehension. This belief gained traction during the logging boom of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when industrial expansion brought waves of timber companies to the region. Ignoring warnings from indigenous elders, loggers began harvesting the old-growth pines, reducing vast swaths of the forest to stumps. Almost immediately, strange and tragic events began unfolding. Loggers reported hearing unearthly screams emanating from the trees, while others claimed to see shadowy figures darting between the trunks. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation, saws jammed inexplicably, and entire crews vanished without a trace. One particularly harrowing account describes a team of loggers who woke to find their campsite surrounded by animal carcasses, bears, deer, and birds, all arranged in a perfect circle, their eyes wide open and staring blankly into the void. The curse extended far beyond the forest itself, manifesting in the lives of those who profited from its destruction. Families of loggers suffered a string of misfortunes. Houses burned to the ground, livestock perished under mysterious circumstances, and children fell gravely ill without discernible cause. Some attributed these tragedies to coincidence, but others saw them as divine retribution. By the mid-20th century, public sentiment had shifted, leading to stricter conservation measures and reduced logging activity. However, the damage had already been done, and the scars, both literal and metaphysical, remained etched into the landscape. Today, the cursed timberland continues to exert its influence over those who dare to enter. Hikers and campers frequently report experiencing inexplicable phenomena that defy logical explanation. Among the most common are sudden weather changes, where clear skies give way to violent storms within minutes. Lightning strikes with alarming frequency in areas previously deemed safe, forcing visitors to flee for shelter. Others describe hearing the sound of axes chopping wood or chainsaws buzzing in the distance, despite no active logging operations occurring nearby. These auditory hallucinations are often accompanied by a paralyzing sense of dread, as though an unseen entity is observing their every move. Perhaps the most chilling tales involve the disappearance of individuals within the timberland. Over the decades, dozens of cases have been documented, many of which remain unsolved. In one infamous incident, a family of 4 entered the forest for a weekend camping trip and failed to return. Search parties scoured the area for weeks, finding only fragments of their belongings scattered across miles of wilderness. Most disturbingly, investigators discovered a journal belonging to the father, its pages filled with increasingly erratic entries detailing visions of shadowy figures watching from the trees and feelings of being hunted. The final entry read simply, "We should never have come here." Paranormal researchers have long been fascinated by the cursed timberland, conducting extensive investigations into its alleged hauntings. Using tools such as thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices, teams have captured compelling evidence suggesting the presence of unexplained phenomena. Thermal imaging footage reveals heat signatures moving independently of physical bodies, while EVP recordings capture disembodied voices speaking in languages unfamiliar to researchers. One particularly unsettling discovery involved the recovery of an antique locket buried beneath a tree stump, its interior containing a faded photograph of a woman dressed in Victorian-era clothing. Local historians identified her as a settler who had gone missing in the late 1800s, adding credence to the theory that the forest serves as a repository for souls unable to move on. What makes the cursed timberland uniquely terrifying is its ability to evoke primal fears. The sheer scale of the woodland creates an environment where visibility is limited and escape routes are few. Its isolation amplifies every sound, the snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, until each becomes a potential harbinger of doom. Even the most rational mind struggles to maintain composure when confronted with such overwhelming sensory input. For those who dare to visit, the experience is akin to stepping into a waking nightmare, one where familiar landmarks vanish, paths twist back on themselves, and the very fabric of reality frays at the edges. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the cursed timberland continues to attract visitors eager to test their courage against the unknown. For many, the allure lies not only in the thrill of encountering the supernatural, but also in the profound connection to nature that the forest provides. The towering pines themselves seem imbued with a wisdom older than time, their massive trunks bearing witness to countless generations of life and death. To walk among them is to feel both insignificant and eternal, a paradox that adds depth to the park's haunted mystique. As you tread cautiously through the cursed timberland, remember that the forest holds secrets older than memory. Each rustle of leaves, each creak of wood, could be a message from the past, or a warning from the present. Whether you come seeking adventure or solace, respect the land and its spirits, for they are guardians of a legacy far greater than any single lifetime. And should you hear the phantom cries of loggers or catch sight of shadowy figures lurking among the trees, know that you are not alone. The forest watches, and it remembers. The haunted canopy of Muir Woods National Monument, nestled just north of San Francisco, Muir Woods National Monument stands as a living cathedral of ancient redwoods, their towering trunks reaching skyward like pillars of a forgotten temple. This protected forest, named in honor of naturalist John Muir, is celebrated for its ecological significance and breathtaking beauty. Yet, beneath its serene canopy lies a hidden world steeped in mystery and spectral intrigue. Known colloquially as the Haunted Canopy, this section of the monument has become a focal point for eerie tales and unexplained phenomena, drawing curious visitors and paranormal investigators alike. The Haunted Canopy earned its foreboding nickname due to the peculiar atmosphere that pervades the area. Visitors often describe an overwhelming sense of stillness, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. Sounds that typically fill a woodland, birds chirping, squirrels scampering, leaves rustling, are conspicuously absent, replaced by an unnatural silence that presses heavily on the ears. This auditory void is punctuated only by the occasional creak of shifting bark or the faint drip of moisture from the fog-laden branches above. Many who venture into the canopy report feeling an inexplicable weight pressing down on them, as though the air itself is thick with sorrow. One of the most enduring legends tied to the haunted canopy involves a spirit known as the Sentinel. Described as a towering figure cloaked in shadow, the Sentinel is said to patrol the forest floor, ensuring that no intruder disturbs the sanctity of the redwoods. Witnesses claim to see its silhouette emerge from the mist, its form indistinct yet unmistakably humanoid. Those who encounter it describe feeling an immediate sense of dread, their instincts screaming at them to flee. Attempts to approach or communicate with the Sentinel invariably result in failure. The figure dissolves into the haze, leaving behind only a lingering chill. Some believe the Sentinel is the embodiment of the forest's collective consciousness, a guardian tasked with protecting the redwoods from harm. Others view it as the restless spirit of a fallen tree, forever bound to the grove it once called home. Beyond the Sentinel, the canopy is rife with otherworldly encounters. Hikers frequently report hearing disembodied whispers drifting through the trees, their words unintelligible yet laden with urgency. Some describe the sensation of being touched, gentle brushes against their arms or shoulders, that vanish upon investigation. Others recount seeing ghostly orbs of light hovering amidst the foliage, their movements jerky and unpredictable, as if controlled by an unseen hand. One particularly unsettling account comes from a ranger who swore to have witnessed a translucent child playing tag among the roots of a massive redwood. When he called out, the figure froze mid-step, turned to face him, and vanished into thin air. What makes the haunted canopy uniquely terrifying is its ability to evoke primal fears. The dense foliage limits visibility, creating an environment where shadows stretch unnaturally and movement is difficult to track. The towering redwoods loom overhead, their immense size dwarfing visitors and fostering a sense of insignificance. Even the most rational minds struggle to maintain composure when confronted with such overwhelming stimuli. For those who dare to visit, the experience is akin to stepping into a dreamscape, one where familiar landmarks vanish, paths twist back on themselves, and the line between reality and illusion blurs dangerously. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the haunted canopy continues to draw adventurers and skeptics alike. Some come seeking thrills, eager to test their courage against the unknown. Others arrive out of curiosity, hoping to unravel the mystery behind the grove's spectral energy. Regardless of intent, all who enter do so with a mix of reverence and trepidation, aware that they are treading on hallowed ground. As you stand beneath the towering redwoods of the haunted canopy, take a moment to listen to the forest. Hear the whispers of those who came before, feel the weight of their gaze upon you, and consider the price of disturbing forces best left undisturbed. Should you choose to venture deeper, remember, the forest watches, and it remembers. And once you step into its embrace, there is no guarantee you will emerge unchanged. As we bring this journey through the haunted forests of the American West to a close, let us pause to reflect on the myriad stories that have unfolded beneath their ancient canopies. From the glowing specters of the phantom pines in Mount Rainier to the cursed timberlands of Crater Lake, from the eerie silence of Muir Wood's haunted canopy to the ghostly trails of Big Basin redwoods, these forests are more than mere collections of trees. They are living monuments to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of memory. They remind us that the past is never truly buried. It breathes, it whispers, and sometimes it screams. These forests serve as reminders that nature, in all its majesty and mystery, demands respect. Whether viewed as sacred spaces, haunted realms, or gateways to the unknown, they compel us to tread lightly and listen closely. The tales we've explored are not merely ghost stories. They are cautionary tales about the consequences of hubris, greed, and disregard for the sanctity of the land. They warn us that some forces are best left undisturbed, their secrets guarded by ancient spirits and timeless energies. This exploration of the haunted heritage of the American West is far from over. In part 2 of our series, we will venture even deeper into the shadows, uncovering more chilling tales and forgotten legends. We'll step into places where time seems to stand still and the veil between worlds grows thin. Whether you are a skeptic seeking intrigue, or a believer chasing goosebumps, the next installment promises to deliver an unforgettable descent into the unknown. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the darkest corners of the forest often hold the brightest truths. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the haunted heart of the American West. Keep your lanterns lit. We'll see you soon. Let the whispers begin anew.